Since Derek Chauvin killed George Floyd nearly 2 years ago, many analyses show the number of police shootings remains pretty constant. That's despite increased attention, debate, legislation, and other calls for reform. And this week, Grand Rapids police released video of an officer shooting and killing Patrick Lyoya, a 26-year-old black man. Let's talk about it with former Detroit Police Chief Ike McKinnon, and from Bridge Detroit, Bryce Huffman, who covered Grand Rapids for years. And Bryce, your most recent article for Bridge, Michigan, ran down the last 5 years or so of what Grand Rapids police has gone through regarding racial incidents. Talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, so Grand Rapids is not new to the conversation about race and policing. In fact, the department back in 2017 really came under fire because 5 unarmed black boys were held at gunpoint by officers, and that was really kind of my introduction to the Grand Rapids Police Department. And then the next month, in April of 2017, a traffic study came out that showed that black drivers were twice as likely to get pulled over as white drivers. So it was a lot of community conversation about racial bias in policing. And then, through the next 5 years, incidents kept happening where Grand Rapids police officers would either arrest, aim a gun at, or handcuff an unarmed black child or teenager. And then there was obviously the incident where Grand Rapids police arrested a combat veteran, a Marine combat veteran, who had all the identification on him possible to show that he was a U.S. citizen, but they still arrested him and tried to deport him, actually. So the department, has been working on trying to figure these things out. But, 5 years of efforts, which include having consulting firms come in and make recommendations, having community conversations, really being held under the fire by the community and being very publicly scrutinized by the community. A lot of that, for people who are here, feel like it hasn't really resulted in any change.
Yeah, I was going to say, in your estimation, have they made any significant progress? I mean, obviously what has just happened would suggest no, but were they making any inroads at all, do you think?
I think they were making some inroads, but one of the things I've been telling people for a long time is police reform is hard. It takes big changes. It takes changing the way people think about policing and the way that people think about public safety. And those things don't happen overnight or even over the course of 5 years. So when you look at a city like Grand Rapids that actually has been trying to do things, and those things still aren't enough, it really makes you question, what are things like in cities that haven't even bothered to try to change or haven't even really bothered to examine racial biases and racial tensions.
Yeah, and we don't know the name of the officer involved in this shooting, but we do know he's been at the department for 7 years, so all of what you just recapped. And Ike, I want to bring you into this. It's important to have full context when we talk about this, and obviously the department's history is part of it, but when you look at this video, what stands out to you when you see how this went down?
What stands out for me is the mindset of this officer. You stop the person, and first of all, it's let's assume it's a misdemeanor initially, and let's keep this incident at a low level so that one has not raised it to the second level. And that's exactly what happened there. I mean, he tells him to get to stay in the car, and he yells at him, and he steps out of the car, and then he goes over there some conversation, and then apparently he decides he's going to arrest him. Now, I'd always say to people, let's de-escalate as much as possible. What were you going to arrest him for? We know that there was a license plate issue, but let's talk about this. Is it necessary to take it to a different level? And that's where it went to. So the gentleman takes off running, and he goes after him, and then it goes to a whole different level. And of course, we get to the point where he's tackled him, he's down on the ground, and he's got his left arm around his neck. He reaches behind him to get his gun. I thought initially he was going to try and grab his handcuffs, but he grabbed his gun and he shot him in the head. That's the ultimate in escalation there.
Yeah, something I've heard, just to jump in, I've heard law enforcement mention this, the possible threat of him having his hand on the officer's taser, and I know there's another guy in the vehicle that is there. He's got to worry about that, but Is it against training for an officer to not just back off, back away from the situation? Is that not part of what an officer is taught?
You know, I learned a long time ago, and we were taught, de-escalate as much as possible. Look, is it so important that you lock a person up for this kind of thing or to take it to a different level? And we have to be mindful of the kind of people that we bring into this field of law enforcement. I think, I did this article, George Floyd Could Have Been Me, about a year or so ago. And I talked specifically about the people that we hire to bring into law enforcement. What's their mindset? How do they talk to people? How do they look at people? And that's most important. And what I saw here is that this officer, in my opinion, took this to this level where there was going to be literally where it led to.
Yeah. And Bryce, I know we just talked a moment ago about inroads. Does this undo any progress that was made? And what fallout do you see from what happened?
You know, I think there's two ways we can look at this. There's the inroads that the city itself has made, like city elected officials have made, as far as, having this trust with the community. And then there's what happens on the police department side, where the police department also has to rebuild and regain trust with the community. I think on the city level, a lot of city officials are standing with residents now in a way that they weren't before, or they weren't back in 2020 following the George Floyd protests that, did get violent a little bit and did have property destruction. So far, luckily, these protests have been completely peaceful. But city officials are willing to recognize that, maybe we weren't as aggressive in trying to hold the department accountable. From the department side, I would say that a lot of that progress, whatever progress there was, is no longer tangible or palpable for residents of the city, or even someone like me who doesn't live in Grand Rapids anymore.
Yeah. Ike, I only have a few seconds left, but a quick answer. We're seeing a lot of departments now changing their whole stance on even pulling people over for small incidents, small infractions. Do you think that's going to be, and I only have 20 seconds, do you think that's the wave of the future?
It helps, but they've got to be mindful of the kind of people or who they're hiring to do the job as law enforcement officers. It's not an us versus them type situation. Be mindful of who you hire.
Yeah. Gentlemen, I really appreciate your thoughts. I certainly hope we don't have to do it again in the future, but I thank you for your time this morning. We appreciate it.